Hey folks, Brian here. It's the little things that people don't really get. Well, this one I'm about to talk about here ain't political. It's more about survival. When the politicians fail to do their jobs, it's possible that most of us will have to resort to pure survival. Which honestly ain't a bad deal if you ask me, but I want to talk about little customs for those of you who may soon find yourself homeless. One, if I had to be homeless, I would not choose to live in a big city. And the truth is, the way things are going, you have to think about why people live in cities. It's mostly for convenience. A lot of them think they're really surviving, and it's my opinion they're not. A couple things though, if you do come out here, and guys like me, we're going to be tracking. And the best thing in my opinion that could happen is that the ATV and even the damned motor vehicle stopped running for a month or two, and we went back to really reaffirming all the good things that have been given to us on this planet. I don't think that's going to happen. Short of a nuclear holocaust, I do think that we may be going back to the Stone Age soon. So if you stop in my cave, amigos, you might notice sometimes that there are a few matches left behind with a little bit of dry wood. You might even notice that the matches are left sticking out the box or the packet like this. Some of you might not understand what you see in there, so I'm going to try to explain it from the Wrangler perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the deal. These hands, it's powerful. Yeah, they're tough, they're burnt, grizzled. They've been through some shit, and I like it that way. But one thing they don't like is cold. So when you're out in the cold, or you come in from the cold, for whatever reason you're coming in for the cold, these matches could save your life. A good person is always going to leave themselves a bit of tinder and a way to start a fire. You're going to leave the matches out so that when you can't move your fingers and you're cold, and it happens, believe me, you might get your hands on these and be able to maybe strike it. Now I'm doing this because I'm kind of acting, but the reality is I've been there before and it sucks. Now, that being said, let's talk about the formalities of something like that. So, I always think of it as it's important as a survivalist to really think about my fellow man. I don't really want to hurt him, and this rule still stands today, is at first do no harm, which is contrary to some of the things I say. I come out here mostly to be alone, but if you're out there like me, sometimes you got to come in from the cold, and it might save your life to have a place you can duck into. Likewise, when you leave, take the time out of the kindness of your heart to put a little tinder back in the tinder place. Make sure there's enough wood so that the next pilgrim that has to use that shelter will not only be warm and safe just like you, but he or she might be thankful also that you leave the matches pointed out. Now, this is not something that I learned in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. I learned this when I was traveling overseas in Europe, and I never forgot it because, in fact, it has saved my life a time or two. Always be considerate of others. Maybe that's part of what the problem is in our country today, is people have forgotten that quality of life, whereas they're no longer considerate of others, and it shows.